What's up, pups? How you guys doing? I'm doing great! Thanks for asking. So this video is brought to you once again by my super intelligent friend Mike Falzone. I don't understand how he can just think of these things in his head the way he does and make these videos that just invoke these emotions in me like they do. Alright, so today we're gonna have a semi-serious talk then, so why don't you just go on and come on in closer. Come on, closer. Come on. This is like a family knit community. We're having a talk. So come in closer, alright? Okay. Just back up a little bit. That's a little bit too close for comfort there. Okay. What is that, cabbage? Dang. Alright, so today we're going to talk about cutting our losses. Now this is something that I have constantly struggled with in my life, and I'm sure other people go through it as well. Sometimes we as human beings just don't know when to throw in the towel and give up. Whether it be in regards to recreational fun, relationships, family, friends, personal goals, and aspirations, what have you. As time passes and some things, it becomes clear that things aren't going to work out the way you wanted them to. You finally realize that pursuing whatever it is you were pursuing, whether trying to mend a broken relationship, broken friendship, or a house that's falling apart, it just ain't gonna work, alright? It's gonna cost you too much emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, what have you. But instead of change and moving on from what we're focused on, we never want to move on because change is scary and we stay in the same stagnant situation because we're terrified of change. And all that's really coming out of it is you being unhappy and depressed and sacrificing your own well-being because you don't want to change what you know. Well, I'm making this video today to let you know that you are not alone. I would say 9 out of 10 people know what it's like to be in a really crappy job, or know what it's like to be in a relationship that just feels stagnant, or know what it's like to be in a friendship that you feel is one-sided. I'm sure in your life that you've taken on a project, whether it be at school or at work, that is way too much for you to handle and you are silently freaking out in your mind. There are hundreds and hundreds of people out there who go gambling with the mentality that even if they lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars, they'll have to win it back eventually. Or there's some people who have friendships and relationships in their life that just seem to stagnate, or it's one-sided and they get treated like crap all the time and they don't want to stand up because they say, well, it's not terrible all the time, just sometimes. Newsflash, relationships and friendships shouldn't be terrible at any time. They should be something that you confide in and look forward to and enjoy. And if you're not enjoying it and the person really angers you and you just don't have the gall to say something, that's not a relationship or a friendship. That's the worst. It's funny because when it's you in that situation, you can't see the toll that it's taking on you emotionally and physically and financially, and it becomes such a burden. We, like you and all of us having this conversation right now, we recognize this in other people, and we are very quick to make comments about it, but when it's us in that situation, it's not so easy to recognize. And the thing to remember is that there are several large unconscious psychological forces at work here. We may keep throwing our money into that poker tournament or staying in that dead-end relationship because we just haven't come up with alternatives yet. And a lot of the times it comes with stubbornness too, because most of the time we don't want to admit to our family and friends when we're wrong about a situation. But eventually we do come to that point where we realize this has been an extreme waste of time. But the thing is, once you realize that you're not going to succeed at something, or the relationship that you've been in has been a complete joke, or your friend is not really a friend to begin with, it shouldn't really matter how much time and effort that you've put into that situation because now you've finally come to terms with it not working out. If those situations have already taken the best years of your life, don't let them take any more. So once you recognize that you're at a point to finally cut your losses, I've come up with a quick list of 5 easy things to start doing to help with that. Number 1 would simply be make it a clean break. Once you've decided to cut your losses, it's a lot easier to cut everything all at once instead of gradually cutting. Not only does it make it easier to get over your decision as quickly as possible, but it also helps with any lingering "why did I do that" situations. The second thing you need to do is be honest with yourself. If you screwed up, you screwed up and you need to own it. If you lied to someone about something, you need to admit that you lied about it. You simply need to evaluate the situation and look at what worked and what didn't work. And that way you don't make the same mistakes again. Now, with recognizing the pros and cons of the situation, you also need to remember that you're not a failure. The decision to cut something out of your life is not a representation of you being a failure at all. It just means that you tried something and it didn't work out. On to the next one. The next thing you need to do is just take time for yourself. I feel like it's super important to just take time to regroup from that situation and think about where you want to go from there. It's really important to make sure that you're actually okay with your decisions and you don't ever want to feel any sort of remorse or regret. You have to have a clear head when you're moving forward with any other decision making. So if you need to talk to somebody about what's going on, talk to somebody. And then finally, you just think about the positives in your life and move forward with it. Even if you have cut your losses before and walked out of a situation, some positives do come out of that. Whether they were you growing as a person, financial gains, lessons learned, that's all positive reinforcement for helping you deal with more situations in the future. Make a list of goals that you want to accomplish that you couldn't have before. And that's honestly the most important part of it, is just remaining positive, because you're not a failure. Okay, we all screw up, it happens. Keep going. I feel like it's imperative for me to note though that in these situations, tension can arise. You should really try to avoid being petty or backstabbing people or talking behind their back or destroying property. Gossiping and smack talking may make you feel better temporarily, but in the long run, it just makes you look petty and vindictive, and no one likes a negative Nancy. So now to get you guys involved with this video, I don't want to hear about any situations that you guys have had to cut out of your life, because that's just bringing up negative past experiences and we don't want to focus on those. What I'm curious to know is, what are your goals for the future? What are goals that you have in place that you're striving for? Whether it be working towards a bachelor's degree, working to become the president of the United States, wanting to own your own pet store, becoming friends with Paris Hilton or whoever you want to be friends with, that's cool. I'm just curious, and you can make video responses for me, you can leave comments, just tell me, what are some of your goals that you're working towards that you're really excited to share with the world? Because the one thing that we do all have in common is we really like to talk about ourselves. I mean, we're all on YouTube for a reason, right? So until next time, YouTubers, I will see you guys in cyberspace with another video. Peace out, Trouts.